Okay, so imagine this. You're one of the world's biggest cube companies, and you commission a puzzle designer to help bring your latest product to life. Everything goes smoothly at first, but when you pay him for his work, you accidentally send him 5 times the amount you were supposed to, money that was meant to be paid to other designers. You apologize for the mistake and try to clear things up, but a month later he tells you he's already spent the money. He promises to pay it back, but for the next 7 months, nothing. Complete silence. This is exactly what happened to QiYi, and in this video I'm going to be going over the whole situation because trust me, the QiYi situation is crazy. I'm going to try to keep it as objective and neutral as possible here. I mean, I definitely am on someone's side here, but we'll get to that later. For now, let's just read the Instagram post that QiYi made earlier today. So they say, due to an oversight in our review process, when we paid the product commission to Alan Omar Ramirez Perez in April, that's the name of the designer, we accidentally also transferred the commissions intended for 2 other designers to Alan, resulting in an amount 5 times the normal payment. Upon discovering the error 5 days after the payment was made, we immediately contacted Alan and requested the return of the excess funds. So, for now, up to this point, honest mistake. They realized, they sent him a DM or an email asking for it back. Everything's totally fine here. They made a mistake and they realized. However, Alan stated that he'd already spent the money and promised to repay it later. That's where it's a little shady on his end. He already spent the money that I'm guessing he knew he wasn't supposed to receive. Also, I don't know how much money it was, but I'm assuming it's quite a bit of money if it's 5 times the amount they were supposed to pay him. How do you spend all of that in 5 days? That's a little sus, I feel like. And also keep in mind, that was back in April and May. That was way earlier this year. As of now in December, despite multiple attempts to reach out to him, we have not received any response, though his Facebook account was recently updated with a new post. So he can't say that he didn't check his DMs or that he wasn't on Facebook, because he made a Facebook post in that time that he was ghosting them. We are still waiting for those funds to pay the commissions owed to the 2 other designers. If you know Alan, please help us pass along the message and ask him to respond to us. We would be very grateful for your assistance. And they attach a screenshot of their DMs with Alex, I assume on Facebook or something. This was in May. They say, I just need you to give me an approximate time so I can discuss it with the other 2 designers. However, you haven't responded to me since April. And Alan says, I know I haven't answered since April. I've been working from April to today. I've had 3 days off to collect the money. I'm gonna sell my own things, and with that I could have the money. My approximate time, I don't know. On May 19th, I'll give you an exact day. And then QiYi says, thank you. So for now, everything's kind of normal. They reach out to him about the mistake. He said that he hasn't had the time to recoup the money yet, but he'll let them know when he can. And then they say thank you. But then May 19th comes and goes, and this is in September now. It's been 5 months, and they say, when will you give us back the money? And then 2 days later, no response, and they just say, hi, ? And there's been absolutely no correspondence since then. So that's the information QiYi has given us publicly, but now let's look at some of the comments because the reactions to this are kind of split. So the top comment here says, you're a business, should be able to handle your own mistakes and move on, kind of calling out QiYi for airing this out publicly. But then QiYi responds, so you think the contract is just a meaningless formality, right? And he promised to return the money within a certain period. Is that also just empty words? So I kind of agree with QiYi here. Alan did give them a date that he was gonna tell them when he would pay them back, but that day came and went and he never said anything. Also, this was QiYi's mistake originally, but it doesn't just affect QiYi, it also affects the 2 other designers that they were supposed to pay. So it's not like QiYi can just suck it up and take the loss, because as they say in their Instagram caption, they are waiting for those funds to pay the other 2 designers. So it not only harms QiYi, this whole situation, but the other 2 designers who have absolutely nothing to do with the situation. They're completely innocent and uninvolved. Another comment here is kind of in support of QiYi, saying hopefully the public call out is enough of a wake-up call. Somebody asked how much money are we talking? And then somebody, Mike Beach 26, says, while I understand what happened, there are times the other side, designer to cube company, we get very little communication. I guess he's saying that cube companies could also be more communicative with the designers, which I don't really see how that applies here because, as you can see in the screenshot, QiYi is being very communicative. It's just Alan that's ghosting them and kind of running off with this money that he wasn't supposed to get. So at the end of the day, I think while QiYi messed up and they realized their mistake, it's ultimately Alan's responsibility to pay it back. But what does the law have to say about this? Does Alan legally have to pay QiYi back? Well, I'm not a lawyer or legal expert, and this is not legal advice, but I did a tiny bit of research and this is what I found. So situations like this fall under something called unjust enrichment, and it's actually pretty clear what you're supposed to do. Basically, everywhere across the world, if somebody sends you money by accident, you are legally responsible for paying it back. It doesn't matter if you already spent it, or if the sender was the one making the mistake, or if you didn't know it was a mistake in the first place. If you received money accidentally, it pretty much says you have to pay it back. In the US, the person who received the money is liable in restitution to the person who sent it. In the UK, this precedent goes back centuries. And in China, where QiYi is based, it's clearly written out in the People's Republic of China Civil Code, Article 985. It says that if a person gains a benefit without a legal basis and causes another person to suffer a loss, they must return the benefit. And that's exactly what's happening here. So I don't know where Alan is based or what jurisdiction he's under, but in most parts of the world, it seems like you have to return the money. And that actually brings me to my next point, which is what happens next. There's a couple things that Alan, QiYi, and the cubing community can do, and I feel like the best option is for Alan to somehow hear about the Instagram post, this video, or someone in the cubing community telling him, and he repays the money and the case is settled. However, if time goes on and the money still isn't sent back, well, QiYi probably has a pretty good case in their hands. They could pursue legal action for unjust enrichment, like I said before, and it'd probably be a pretty easy win for them. But even if QiYi decides not to pursue legal action, imagine the repercussions this will still have on Alan. I mean, what other cubing company is going to want to work with somebody who completely cuts off communication with their client after running off with money that isn't theirs? It seems like for all parties involved, Alan, QiYi, the other cube companies, and the community, the best case scenario would just be for him to admit his mistake and return the money, which is kind of why I'm making this video. In the last part of QiYi's Instagram caption, they say, "If you know Alan, please help us pass along the message and ask him to respond to us." So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just passing along the message, and while I don't know Alan, maybe you do, or maybe you know somebody who knows Alan, or maybe you can share this video with the cubing community everywhere that you can, r/cubers, Discord servers, Facebook groups, and see if you can get in touch with him so that the situation can be settled. I don't think this is an unforgivable mistake as long as he repays the money eventually and things are settled up. So I want to hear what you guys think about the situation. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Shop at SpeedCube Shop. Use the code Teboe for 5% off. The Christmas season is coming up and this is truly the best place to get any kind of puzzle, and I'll see you in the next video.